It wasn't that long ago that Switch Emulation was updated in Batocera 35. Well, turns out that a new developer has joined the Batocera Switch Emulation scene. His username is Uriel, and he has joined forces with OrDevice to create a new easy-to-use installer and a new updater as well. As a result, performance has definitely improved with Ryujinx. In addition, more menu features have been added in the advanced system options. Lastly, the new updater is just as easy to use as the old one. But the best news is that Yuzu is finally working with the Steam Deck's built-in gamepad. Finally! Oh yeah, baby. Are you intrigued? More importantly, are you ready to try out Switch Emulation Batocera? Well, let's do it! Greetings everyone, and welcome to Batocera Nation, the #1 fan site and channel for Batocerans. So glad you could join us today. Once again, I want to stress that this build of Switch Emulation is not officially supported by the Batocera team. The reason for this is that Batocera team wants to support game developers. Since Switch games are still selling, the fear is of rampant piracy in Batocera. The developers wanted to avoid this. Secondly, the new Switch Emulation is still a work in progress. In fact, it has already been broken at least once in the beta 36 version of Batocera. Not everything is working just right yet, but our developers are in contact with the official Yuzu team. Indeed, while Batocera 36 is being worked on, the Switch team will continue to fine-tune the Switch emulators for Batocera 36. In either case, I want to thank both Uriel and OrDevice for all their hard work in making Switch Emulation possible in Batocera. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and load up Batocera and get Switch Emulation up and running. Alright, so we're in Batocera, and I'm running this on an ASRock NUC i7 1165G7 little mini computer. I recently updated this to Batocera version 35. I've not touched Nintendo Switch for quite some time, and if I go in there, select this game, it's not going to work, right? Okay. So let's get out of this. Let's go ahead and press escape, press F1, and let's go into applications, and let's go into Xterm. You need to type the following command. Fortunately, there's no way to copy and paste this. Curl, space, -sign, capital L, space, switch, .batocera.pro, space, and there's a little symbol right here. It's found right underneath the backspace and top of the enter key on your keyboard, and another space bash. And this will be the new installer. Make sure you are connected to the internet, otherwise this will not work. Alright, so if you're not connected to the internet, you're going to get that error. So make sure you're connected to the internet. Let's go ahead and repeat the process now that I'm connected to the internet. And there it goes. Alright? And so essentially what it's going to do is going to install and eventually update 5 different emulators. After it does the installer, it goes into the actual updater itself. And this is what you'll see. So the first emulator is going to be Yuzu Early Access. Then you have the regular Yuzu, mainline Yuzu. Then you have Ryujinx. And then we have the special one, LDN. I'll explain that a little bit later on. We finally get the last one right there, number 5. Right? Everything worked out well. And finally, you brought to this screen. You really can't see things too well, but just type EXIT. And you get out of it, right? You go to go. All right, so if you go into your games folder and you go into your ports folder, you should see this right here. This is the updater, okay? And I'm going to show you how to update it. All right, let's go back. And of course, there's the Switch folder. And let's go ahead over here. Make sure that all your games have one of these extensions, okay? Again, copyright games right here. Okay, let's go ahead and close this out. Now we'll go back to my Switch. And from there, go back to Mario Kart, test it out, and it should work now. Now then, let me share with you some analysis after I tested Batocera Switch Emulation on 4 different systems. If you are using Batocera Beta 36, then the bad news is that running this on an Intel integrated chip, Switch Emulation is not going to work. Your best bet is to downgrade to Batocera 35 until Batocera 36 is final. On an AMD 4800U mini computer using Ryzen integrated graphics, both Yuzu and Ryujinx are working on Batocera 35 and Batocera Beta 36, so you're good to go. On a NVIDIA system running on a GTX 1650, both Yuzu and Ryujinx are working on Batocera 35 and Batocera Beta 36. However, in Ryujinx running in Vulkan, it is only picking up the Intel integrated graphics chip and not an NVIDIA card. In OpenGL, Ryujinx correctly picks an NVIDIA card. So your best bet is to use Yuzu or Ryujinx running on OpenGL. The last test system is the Steam Deck. I will save that discussion after I load up Batocera on the deck. Okay, you can see that it works quite well. Let's go into Advanced System Options. Go ahead and press Select on your gamepad. And let's go down over here. And for emulator, now you got 5 different choices. User mainline, of course, is obviously what it means. Then we have early access. This is actually the mainline version of this particular emulator. And we got this special one here as well as LDN. I'm going to explain this a little bit later on when I go into my desktop. Okay, but for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and just use user mainline. In fact, if you're using this on an Intel graphics card, this is the only option you have. This or this will work. Unfortunately, with Ryujinx does not work just yet. All right. Decorations. This does not work yet in Batocera version 35. In some cases, it does work in Batocera version Beta 36. So stay tuned for that one. All right, so for graphics backend, of course, use Vulkan, best bet. And for video resolution, if you have a weaker system, then go ahead and choose one of these right here. If you got a more powerful system, you can go all the way from 2x all the way up to 6x, okay? And of course, you can also experiment with some of these features right here. And we also have system language and region right here. In terms of switch dock mode, according to the Yuzu team, if you have a weaker system, go ahead and choose on dock. If you got a more powerful system, go ahead and use dock. On dock will give you better performance. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and choose dock for this particular system. Player 1 pad tap, just leave it on auto. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to update your Switch emulators. Let's get out of this. Let's look for ports. There we are. And from there, make sure you choose Switch Updater. That's the only one that's correct, okay? Make sure you connect it to the internet. And then, of course, select it. And from there, it will begin the process. It will update all 5 emulators within Switch. And there it goes. It's a quick and easy process. It takes about a minute or so for it to update all 5 emulators. That's it. We're done. Easy peasy. All right. All right, so for our next part of the tutorial, let's go ahead and load up Batocera on our Steam Deck. Okie dokie, so Batocera Beta 36 is running on my Steam Deck. And whether you have Switch Emulation on your Steam Deck or this is your first time, go ahead and run the installer as well. If you have an old version of Switch Emulation, you won't need to uninstall anything or delete anything for that matter. Okay, so go ahead and press F1, get into File Manager. Let's go into Applications. If you got this folder, just go ahead and click on that and go to Xterm. And from Xterm, once again, you're going to have to type this right here. And make sure you don't have any extra spaces. Make sure you're connected to the internet, otherwise it won't work, okay? And I will be leaving the command in my video description, so make sure you type the command exactly as you see it. Otherwise, again, it will not work. Okay, once you enter the command, go ahead and hit enter. And if you type the correct command, you connect it on the internet, this is what you're going to see once again. Okay? It's going to update everything. And there it goes. It's a quick and easy process. It takes about a minute or so for it to update all 5 emulators. That's it. We're done. Once again, you'll see that white screen. Just type exit. And that's it. Now let's go into our games folder. Let's go into a ports folder right here. And let's get a better view of this right here. All right, this is the correct one. And these right here are the old ones. So if you have an old Switch installation, go ahead and delete this right here. You won't need these at all. Go into edit and remove. Yes. Okay, this is the only one you need. You're good to go. Now let's go into the BIOS folder. We're going to go into Switch folder. From now on, the firmware folder will be on this folder right here. Okay, along with your keys. Okay, all right. Close Windows. Press Start. Game settings. Update games list. All right. There's my Switch. Let's go into ports and make sure ports is there. And there's the updater. Once again, just go ahead and click on that when you want to update the emulators. Let's go into Switch Emulation. And let's check it out. As you can see, Yuzu is working quite well and running smooth in Batocera. In fact, let me go ahead and share with you some pointers and important information about Batocera Switch Emulation on the Steam Deck. Both Yuzu and Ryujinx are working on Batocera 35 and on the latest Beta 36 version from December 8, 2022. In addition, built-in Game Pass support for Yuzu is finally working. Developer or device finally figured out a solution and is working like a charm for both handheld mode and dock mode with a Bluetooth controller. In a few moments, I will show you the trick to get it working on Yuzu. On the other hand, for Ryujinx, handheld mode is working as it did before. However, if you want to hook up your Steam Deck to a TV or monitor, you can only use the Yuzu emulator with a Bluetooth controller since it's currently not working for the Ryujinx emulator. The good news though is that Ryujinx has some new features added to it and its performance has gotten even better with the latest release. Again, in dock mode, the Bluetooth controller sticks with the Yuzu emulator. And for handheld mode, you can use either Yuzu or Ryujinx. Finally, since the developers are still working on the Switch emulation, you may want to choose to stay on the December 8, 2022 beta release until the final version comes out. Otherwise, you do run the risk that Switch emulation may break somewhere along the line. The good news, however, is that the time is coming when Switch emulation will officially be supported by the Batocera team. That day may come sooner rather than later, mainly because there's a lot of talk and rumors that Nintendo is about to release a new Switch console, or Switch 2, in March of 2023. If that becomes a reality, then official Switch emulation will be supported by the Batocera team in the new year. Indeed, it looks very encouraging and promising that Switch emulation will be officially coming in 2023 in Batocera. Alright, you can see that it works quite well. Now let me go ahead and show you how you can play Yuzu in handheld mode using your Steam Deck, okay? So let's go ahead and get out of this. Press Escape, press F1. And let's go to this folder right here. Okay, so I'm going to have this file on my website, BatoCeraNation.com. It's very bottom of the page. You can look for it. Go ahead and download it. When you download it, go ahead and unzip it. And when you unzip it, this is what you'll get. This little small little file right here, deckmode.ini, okay? So make sure you copy this to your Batocera system. And from there, go ahead and copy this to, go to Share, go to System, go to Configs, and from there, go to Yuzu. And from Yuzu, go to Input. I have a backup input folder right there. Input, and paste it, okay? Then go from there, go to Applications, and go to Yuzu Emulator, Config, right there. Go into Emulation, Configure, and go into Controls. Okay, this is the default mode, right? In Profile, you should see it. There it is, Deck Mode. Go ahead and load it up and save it. And you can see there, press these buttons there. Everything is corresponding to the right buttons, okay? And there's my D-pad. Everything is working just well, huh? Okay. All right. If you need to make any changes, go ahead and try and make it. But unfortunately, because this is not showing full screen, you really can't go ahead down to the bottom, unfortunately, okay? So that's the reason why I created that file. For you just to copy and paste it, and everything should work just well, okay? Now then, to exit the Yuzu emulator within Batocera, go ahead and press the select button. And at the same time, press those little three dot buttons there on the Steam Deck, which corresponds to this button right here, okay? Those three little dots, all right? And that's it. Again, save it, and then close it out, okay? You know what? Before I actually proceed, let me go ahead and show you on the website what file you need to download before I proceed. All right, so we're on our website, abouttocera.com, and go to the download section, and then scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see it right there. Steam Deck Switch Batocera download. Go ahead and download that file, small little file, and this tells you exactly where you need to copy it, right? An input folder. That's it. Now let's head back over to a Steam Deck so I can wrap up the tutorial. So go ahead and press select on your gamepad and go into Advanced System Options. And this is the one right here. Right now it's set to on. Go ahead, select off. And once you do that, you can play in handheld mode. Okay, it works like a charm. Now, on the other hand, if you want to play with a Bluetooth controller, you got this hooked up to a TV or monitor, then go back in there and go ahead and make sure you choose on. And there's also one last thing you got to do. Press start on your gamepad, go into controller and Bluetooth settings, and from there go to the bottom over here and make sure you choose whatever gamepad you've got going on. Okay, in my case, this is Xbox 360 pad. Go ahead and choose that. Default will be, of course, the Steam controller. Go ahead and choose that, and you go to go. And then, of course, when you go back to handheld mode, make sure you go back in there and choose Steam controller. All right? And that's it. Now, let me go ahead and show you something else. Go ahead and press select in gamepad. Go into Advanced System Options. Let's go down over here to Switch Dock Mode. Now, the Yuzu team are in fact encouraging you that if you want to have better performance, go ahead and choose on dock. And in fact, when I tried it out, I noticed that there were no dips. When I was playing Mario Kart, there were no dips at all. It played consistently at 60 frames per second. When I had dock selected, I did notice it would dip every so often to 50 frames per second, sometimes even 48 frames per second when I had it selected to dock mode. So again, for best performance, you may want to choose on dock. Again, this is a recommendation from the Yuzu team. And now let's go ahead and go to my desktop to show you Ryujinx LDN mode, all right? So again, let's go to my desktop before we wrap everything up. All right, so we're back on my desktop, and I've got this feature article that comes directly from the Ryujinx website. And I will be leaving a link in my video description. So essentially what this does, it allows you to play Switch Emulation with other users as well. In fact, we've got two modes. We've got this classic mode, which allows you to play Switch Emulation with other Ryujinx users only. And we also have this other new mode, which allows you to play Switch Emulation with other Ryujinx users, along with other hacked Nintendo Switch users as well, all on the same network. It's pretty cool. Now, I haven't tried this out, but I understand it does work. So if you want to find out more information about this, how to set it all up, I would highly encourage you to read the article from the blog post, okay? Again, I will be leaving a link in my video description, so check it out. Well, that's a wrap. If you found this video useful, please go ahead and like it. That would really help me out with YouTube's algorithms. If this is your first time watching a video from Batocera Nation, then I highly encourage you to check out YouTube channel as well as the website at batoceranation.com. That will give you a great overview of what Batocera is all about and whether this will meet your emulating needs. Finally, I want you to know I've got a lot more videos coming out, so therefore please consider subscribing so you stay on top of the latest and greatest of Batocera. As a matter of fact, for our next video, I'm going to share some good news. Indeed, most Batocerans will be happy by this recent development. In fact, I found out just yesterday about this. In addition, the PS Vita emulation tutorial is coming soon as well. I've been waiting for the emulator to continue to mature so we can get more compatible games working on it. Again, that video tutorial is coming soon, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on Batocera Nation. Bye.